4 realtors, 0 BS.
Tune in for the real deal on Dallas real estate.
What's up, guys? It's Tuesday. We're back on Real Deals, Real Talk. Missing some people, you know, they hit the bail, but you got your three here who are consistently here. So we're going to bring it to you all today, let them introduce themselves, and we'll jump into it.
Yeah, Haley Williamson with the David Ivy Group. We're back.
She back.
It's Chris. What's up? Y'all know me. Here we are, Tuesday, first episode of the week. Cameron's already giving me shit for no reason. Let's get into it.
Oh my god.
It just feels like Monday, man. Okay, I'm still adjusting.
Haley's requested that we dress nicer.
I have.
Yep. Everyone's just throwing shade today.
I am here.
I'm not against it.
I told him he's wearing flip-flops and I came in heels today. So the vibes are not matching. Oh. Anyways.
She's usually closing deals in heels and we're over here just waking up and getting ready for our day.
Exactly.
You know?
I woke up at 5:30 this morning.
Yep,
I am
that's so early.
I was eating my quote unquote lunch at 9:30. And then I was like, this is breakfast. But anyways.
That's a good thing. I mean, it's not a bad thing at all. I just can't wake up that early. That's just...
No, I cannot either.
Honestly, just start going to bed earlier. I know it's so lame.
That's even the biggest
problem,
harder.
Though. That's even
harder.
So hard. It's so hard. But if you know that you have so much to do the next day, it like will propel you into like closing your eyes and forcing yourself to sleep.
I mean, the days where I do have quite a bit, like maybe if I'm driving a lot or like I'm going to like going north, like for most of the day or showing a lot of homes. Or just have like a busy day, like on the phone or just driving around also in a mix of everything. Like, I'll try and be in bed by like 10.
Yeah. And then you feel so good the next
And then
day.
waking up at like even like 7 or 8, that's like a nice 8 hours.
It's not too bad.
And then you don't even feel tired at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, guys, what's on the agenda today?
What
are we
nicer.
chatting about? We're dressing nicer.
Yes.
We're going to bed earlier. I'm
getting our routine straight. Yes.
I mean, I look good in
Y'all
this.
should
Like,
too.
I look good in this. I don't think it's a bad fit. But no, we're talking about like professional clothes, nice. Like,
I mean, I'm curious. Would you show a house in this?
Yeah, I would to people I know for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, then, hey, if that's your style, that's your brand,
but
keep
not,
rocking it.
That's my
But not to somebody I just met.
Right.
No,
Okay.
Of course not. But like repeat clients or friends, yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
Understandable.
Yeah, because like they don't care.
Exactly.
But yeah, people I don't know for sure. I'm putting a suit on.
You gotta have your flair.
My go-to is a dress shirt, like blue, tan, gray, dress pants, and like brown loafers, watch, brown belt.
I like it. We'll
That's
have to
sharp.
see it next week.
yeah.
Yeah, you saw what I was
We'll
wearing
do
at the penthouse.
Yes,
thing.
we'll
like,
have
that's
to-
like my normal kind of like go-to
If we can include a picture of y'all in the pod,
in the penthouse.
dressed up in
Or
the
they can
penthouse,
just
that'd be
use
great.
The like switch over like AI like dress clothes on us right now.
Oh my gosh.
Can make that happen. I'll work on that. Yeah.
All right,
get techie.
now I'm gonna come fucking sharp as hell on Thursday, and you're gonna see.
I look forward to it.
All right. Whatever. You're gonna be in the same thing you're in today. But
Nah, you'll see.
Right. I'll
Okay,
believe it
now
when I
that
see
we've
it.
done the fashion segment of today's pod,
Dive into some actual
let's
real
dive
estate.
into some real estate. I'm
Yes.
excited to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah. Start us off, Haley. What you got?
Yeah, okay, so I was looking into the average rent and how it's changed
Ooh.
compared to the previous year. Our average rent in Dallas is sitting at $1,600, which is interesting because I feel like last year I was hearing a ton of talk about rent being so expensive, and I'm not gonna lie, $1,600 can still be very pricey, especially in today's economy, but that's decreased $395 from the previous year, and that is due to the fact that we have so many options. So with that being said, it's really good to have an expert be able to tell you where the good options are. During COVID, we had a ton of new buildings popping up because there was so many people moving to Dallas and Texas itself. But because of that, I've found some of the buildings are not built as efficiently, or maybe they were built efficiently, but when it comes to like soundproofing and maybe not having faulty drains, etc., you see a lot of really poorly built properties. So again, having one of us be able to show you where the better options are
Don't
in
live
any
there,
neighborhood.
live here.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch out
I mean,
for this place.
of course we can't say that, but like we'll be able to say
Well,
these
just
have
yeah.
some good options,
Right.
etc. You know?
These are a little like I wouldn't recommend. You can say that,
Yeah.
based on whatever you'd like to say. But yeah, we just know we know the areas, we know the buildings, we understand
Had clients there before, we worked with them before.
Yeah, which ones would provide a better experience for you. We a lot of times we know the management, and sometimes we even know the people we've leased there are people who are currently there at the moment. So you can use those people or your past clients as credibility. Be like, I've leased 4 or 5 people here over the year. They've said it's a great place, or vice versa. That I leased here and it was not the best experience. I wouldn't recommend it. So like it can go either way, and it's just it's a lot of things that to help you guys out with. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said too, there's a lot of new construction still happening in Dallas, which is going to continue to hopefully drop the price of rentals. But
All on the Katy Trail. Have you seen the trail
which one?
right here? Like there's a bunch of construction going on.
Yeah,
They're
of
extending it,
course.
and then you walk like 5 minutes. There's like tons of new apartments.
Yeah,
Tons.
and they're constantly popping up. Those are really great listings. That's an area that I constantly have clients asking for because I mean, kind of touching on what we talked about with our real estate draft of our last episode.
Yeah.
Neighborhood draft.
Neighborhood draft,
draft.
there it is. I mean, that area is just so highly sought after. And there are some private rentals that you can find on the MLS that might not be accessible to everyone that will be really, really well priced. And maybe it's not the most updated unit, but for the location and walkability, I mean, I saw a 1-bedroom recently listed like right off of Cole, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was listed at $1,400 a month.
Yeah, you can find some
And,
other. I mean,
yeah,
they're older buildings, but it's like if you want to be in that location, then it's like that could be a good option for you.
Exactly. And with all of the construction, some of the prime locations that we're seeing people build in are Deep Ellum, of course, Lower Greenville, Murphy, which is an area that I really want to make myself familiar with, and Rockwall. So a lot of people are attracted to lakeside living. I mean, Dallas doesn't have as much of that, I feel like, unless you're over by White Rock or
That just gets
the
expensive.
Trinity River, which is, the Trinity River. But
A little stinky.
yeah, all that to say, there's a lot of really good rentals, and we would absolutely love to help anyone find their new home in that.
Yes.
I mean, there's always stuff popping up here in Dallas, whether it's, we were talking about a few episodes ago, all the stuff coming here to Dallas as far as, companies and corporations coming here, but then also that brings, we need more apartments because of those things, because more people are coming here. And
Wait, did you say that it went from 16 to 1,300 now this year?
no, it went down
No,
to
yeah.
1,600, down
Yeah.
to three,
From-
down
so
to 95.
It was 1,900.
Yeah,
1900,
24?
yeah, for the
What?
average rent in Dallas.
Jeez.
And also, this is a really interesting thing that I was talking with someone about who just moved from Austin. Apparently, a lot of the tech companies are hiring in Dallas now, as opposed to Austin, which I always thought Austin was like the tech hub for, of course, like Google and Tesla's down there. You've got those big companies, but a lot of them are coming here, which is really cool and very exciting.
They're seeing the benefits of what this DFW area has to offer, and even last year, like paying almost $2,000 for rent that's crazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I know people that I helped last year in the high 290s, low to 300s. I helped them buy a home, and they were paying a little over that, maybe 2,200.
right.
And just to pay that much, even at the like average cost, like some people are paying way more than that, and some people are probably paying a little bit less. But that average is that's mind blowing, because that's just so much money to just not have to utilize with your life. It's just simply going away every single month with no recourse. It's just wild to me. And I think that's been what Chris said.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
He was like, "What's the what do you see in the market?" He's like, "Our rents are too high. That's
Of
like the
course.
problem."
Yeah.
And he's like, "We need to fix that in some way, besides just inflation and whatnot." But that was his take on it. He's like, "Rents just too high." So
Yeah. Well, now we have more options.
yeah,
For now.
That's
before-
interesting that it dropped so much from last year.
Yeah. And then if we look at the other end of the spectrum, mortgages typically are ranging at $21.88 a month. So it's not
There you go.
It's
Too
not
bad.
too
There you go.
big of a difference,
That's
and that's based on the medium home price of $423,503. So, all that to say, it's really always just so good to know the numbers,
Right, 'cause
because
it could be so little off. It could be
Yeah.
paying an extra maybe $1,000, but that's like $1,000. Later on, it's gonna not just go away. It's gonna be back
Exactly.
in your pocket at some
you're
point.
investing.
You're investing.
Yeah.
You are investing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody listening, real estate is an investment. Yes, it's expensive up front, but it is an investment and something that you should. Again, knowing the numbers can make the world of difference.
Yeah, we can never make more land.
No.
So
Yeah.
owning land is very important, whether it's
Yes.
just a little piece of land with a condo or a large ranch. We're never going to be able to get more. So
Yeah.
buy while you can.
Exactly.
Another, I hate to be hogging the
No,
mic right
go
now,
for
but
it.
No,
I
hog
was
the
listening.
mic. Go ahead. Go for it.
I was listening to a podcast and they said,
You cheating on our podcast? No, I'm just kidding.
of course, you got to stay
Are
educated.
you cheating on our podcast?
We like to be well-rounded here on the pod, but they were saying the best time to buy is when people are freaking out. So when there's chaos, it's the best time. And the worst time to buy is
there's
when
calm.
everyone is buying. So
Right, because exactly.
yeah, when people are not confident in the market, it's just a totally different playing field, I think. So it's a good thing to consider.
Yes.
Y'all keep going. I have to make a very quick phone call.
Oh man.
Always business around
always
here, huh?
business around here. Yeah. Chris
keep
is
going,
always,
just
he's
keep
always-
going.
I know you're just
All right.
always busy, man. I get it.
Good problem to have.
Good problem to have. Yeah. Something I did want to bring up too. I saw something the other day about how Zillow's gonna start doing this thing where they have their own exclusive listings that they're gonna list, and they're not gonna list
Yeah.
certain properties.
Okay, I saw
Did you
that
see
too.
And I wanted to get people's thoughts on that because I feel like that's something that's
Yeah.
going to kind of change. Because it's kind of what some brokers are already doing. Some brokers
Yeah.
are already doing the company, exclusive listings. Only we can see them within our company. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you think that'll affect our market? Do you think that'll be good for the market? Do you think that's going to affect it, make it worse?
I
Like,
honestly think Zillow is just trying to stay relevant by doing that, because they're losing out when these larger brokerages are listing through their own private exclusive groups, which isn't new. This isn't
Right.
anything new. This has been going on for, I don't know if it's been forever, but for
a
as long as
while.
I've known.
Right.
So I think Zillow actively said that they will not include any listing at any point if it has been advertised in a private way. So let's say Compass runs a private exclusive through Compass only,
Right.
and only Compass agents can see that. Zillow will not post that if it is ever entered outside of the MLS and then eventually put into the MLS, which is really interesting. I think it goes to show that they're losing a little bit of their power, and there is a even playing field. It could be considered uneven if you're looking at the smaller brokerages that might not have access to that. But at the end of the day, you're gonna find people for whatever listing, whether you have Zillow or not.
Exactly. No, I thought it was interesting. I noticed, to see them. I feel like in the last few years they've shifted so much from trying to be, like you said, stay more relevant and then be like, hey, we're still here. So I feel like off markets have become so popular. The company listings, exclusive listings have become so popular. I know, you said Compass does it. I know, in my old brokers they did it, and it's ever since especially I think since the NAR stuff, I think it's become more and more popular. People just have it be within their own system.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. I think Zillow shouldn't do that. I think that they want to stay relevant. They should be taking as many listings as they can. I think so many companies, even
Absolutely.
Homes.com, I think has gotten so much bigger in the last few years, and things like that are gonna, outweigh them. And honestly, I'd say I prefer Homes.com over Zillow.
Really? Interesting.
But I just think it's more, the interface is just more user friendly, and they just have, I don't know, it's easier to get, you can set people up on a search on there too, and it's just so much easier to
Very
do it
good.
that way. But
Well, y'all heard it here. Homes.com is the way to go, I guess.
yes, Homes.com is the best.com. That's a new commercial, I think.
We need to do some free advertising for
Yes.
them.
Yes, exactly. Also, kind of going off of that, would you say, kind of based on what you're seeing right now, are we in a buyer's market, seller's market, or you say it's pretty even right now from what you're seeing? I feel like I'm kind of seeing
I'd say buyers.
I think
Yeah,
buyers.
I'd say buyers because we have so much inventory continuing to crop up. That always just makes it where, I mean, if you can go and make a choice between 10 listings instead of 2,
Right.
you're going to have more power, which I think is really interesting.
Right. No, because I think at that point as a buyer, you can walk into the house and be like, well, this one has this one, they're offering this much. So, like, would you be willing to go down since, I like this one, but this one's offering this. And so you kind of have some more wiggle room for what you can negotiate as far as, whether it be concessions or, price and be like, hey, this house down the street is going for, $20,000 less and it has this, which I'd be willing to go down, for that reason. Like, but again, you're saying too, like once it gets to that point where it's the frenzy of it all, like there's multiple offers, they're not going to care whether or not you're asking for $20,000 less. They're going to be like, well, this guy's offering full price, so
and cash.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I'm going to go with this offer that it's a better offer at the end of the day. But if you get in now when you can still have some wiggle room on that stuff, it's going to make it not just a better investment for you, but it's just going to be less money down at the beginning, less closing costs. It'll be multiple different things that'll vary. Bo agrees. If you didn't hear that, Bo is barking. He agrees with us. He thinks now's the time for buyers to buy.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm looking in to see what percentage of home buyers are paying fully in cash nowadays, because I know that was totally a thing in 2020. So it says as of early 2025, about 26% of home purchases in Texas were made entirely in cash, which is a record for our state. So I'm curious to know how, like, what the percentage was during COVID, because that's something that's super appealing for the sellers.
100%. That's faster closing. That's probably
way more effective.
Way more effective. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. What percent of people?
I'm back.
He's back.
Oh, he's back. We were so lonely without you. We sat here for 20 minutes and for 10 minutes didn't talk at all. We just sat here and looked at each other.
It was 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
It got really quiet over here.
Yeah, we didn't talk. We just stared at Bo.
Yeah. I do want to hear your opinion, though. We were talking about how Zillow will no longer accept listings that are advertised before they hit the MLS. So
no more coming soons?
No more coming soons. Like
if
private
if Compass or somebody or any other like firm had their exclusive listing listed with it and only within inside of like their brokerage, and it wasn't listed on MLS in the first place, then they can't list it on. You can't list it on Zillow anymore.
Zillow will not accept it. I think that's to stay relevant, but I'd love to hear your take on it.
Wait, so I'm understanding this correctly. Say it one more time.
So if I have a private exclusive that only us agents at David Ivy have access to, and I market that within David Ivy, and then I go to Zillow after I put that listing in the MLS and say, okay, I'm ready to market this, they will no longer accept that listing.
So because only anybody who can use an agent to buy it has to be from David Ivy, right?
Originally, yes.
Yeah.
So you can transfer it from that private exclusive to a public listing. I mean, I'm not sure.
I have never really understood the idea of that per se. I mean, I understand if it's a large brokerage, there's thousands of agents. That makes sense. But that wouldn't make sense for a group like us, how small and niche we are.
Yeah.
But for them to not allow you to put it on Zillow just because it's a private exclusive, I don't understand the benefit of that.
Like Zillow itself will no longer do that.
Zillow
In
itself
order,
No, I know.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
understand the benefit.
That's what I was
that.
saying
Well,
too. That's
Zillow
like
is-
they want as much. I was saying there's so many other websites getting more popular, like Homes.com. I mean, I think I use that and other ones more than I even use Zillow at this point. So it's like they needed the business. So why wouldn't you? If other companies are gonna be doing it, why wouldn't you to bring people to your site over other ones? But
And I will say too, I know you just said that you might not think that bringing a private exclusive to our brokerage, because it is more boutique and a little bit smaller, that might not be as effective. But one of the greatest benefits of doing a private exclusive is you have way less days on market. So
Really?
if you do have a buyer within the group and you can throw that out and it doesn't have to hit the MLS, it's a really great thing for your buyer. And let's say you put out the feelers at that price point, you don't have to put down on the MLS that there's been a price decrease or that it's been on the market for 100 days. Let's say it only has to say 30, which is always a benefit. But I do understand what you're saying with having a smaller brokerage, we might not have
Yeah.
as many feelers out there.
But
I mean, we've got our own leads.
Yeah.
We definitely have the structure. We definitely have the network. We really bring the power, even though we are smaller, which is something I definitely think.
Yeah, we still do that a lot. Like when Caitlin or me or Kyle or whoever gets a new listing, like we'll all go look at it before it's even on the market.
Exactly.
Like right here, we have that penthouse at Cirque, and we went and saw it right before they listed it. And like it's so helpful to just go in there and be like, hey, might
get
have
familiar.
a buyer for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me reach out to my people.
Yeah.
But I don't ever understand the fact of making it a private listing only. Because what if you get a buyer who's with another brokerage and you're just like, oh yeah, can't take yours. Sorry.
So I feel like you're not offering it out to your
Technically-
full. I feel like you're not offering it out to your full potential yet. Hey, when I'm
Well,
putting it out
yeah.
to other brokerages, they can share. With
You
their
know?
whole network.
If you're doing your job in the correct way, in the legal manner, then no other brokerage will hear about it until
Yeah.
it goes out of that private exclusive. But
How long do they usually keep it in there, you think?
I mean, it definitely depends on who your seller is. Let's say your seller has a listing.
Like a month or like.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly at the end of the day going to be up to the seller. They might
Yeah.
they might want to do just a private exclusive for a weekend and see how that goes.
Yeah. I get that.
Or they honestly might be, let's say it's a $20 million listing and they, for
Oh, definitely.
whatever reason they don't really want everyone in the neighborhood to know that they're selling. Maybe something's changing for them financially. Doing a private exclusive is a really smart way to market, keep it on the down low. And again, like I said, get those feelers out so you can see like if you get any tours, if you get any bites on it. But
That's fair.
yeah, to each their own on it for sure. I'm really interested to see how all of that goes with Zillow moving forward, just to see if they change their mind on it, like all of the NAR rulings and the changes we've had lately.
It's all up in the air.
It's there's just so many changes. It's been really an interesting time to get started in real estate, in my opinion. I'm not sure if y'all would want to talk about the NAR ruling of going to your buyers or sellers, or excuse me, buyers, and writing out how much percentage of a commission you're interested in getting and how that presentation looks. Like if you're willing to go and say I'm worth 3% or I'm okay with getting 1% commission.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about that another time because it's a really long topic.
No, you're good.
But that's been a really interesting change to happen with real estate.
And people don't really understand it, I
Yeah.
think
So I think breaking that down is something we should definitely knock out at some point soon.
No, definitely.
I can break it down a little bit real quick.
Go for it.
I have had this conversation before, and I had to explain to a lot of people in the first place that nothing has actually changed. The only thing that's changed is that we can't see the buyer's commission on online anymore. That's also just a simple phone call. And then the specific contract have changed for the buyer's rep agreement, and it's in the contract now, the new contracts, where you have the commission paid for by the broker and 12 AC, I think, of the contract, and at the very end, there's a commission paid by the brokerage. That's changed. You can always negotiate commission. It's just simply the best way to do real estate is to pay 6, because I can go to a seller and say, how fast do you want me to sell your house? Do you want me to do a good job? Do you want to have a qualified buyer? Do you want to have a good realtor on the other end helping you with this transaction?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to offer 0% on the other side and you pay me 3? It's not going to be an easy transaction. It's not going to be smooth. Your house is going to sit for a long time, and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
And the best way to sell a house is to offer 3% to a buy side. Maybe take a little bit less on your side. Maybe take 2%. You can negotiate. I've negotiated listings where the lady wanted to do 5.5, or for my dad's house, maybe he wants to do 5. Like, you can always negotiate. You can ask for 10. It's never, it's never been like there was just such a misconstrued. It was misconstrued that like we were
setting the rates,
duping people out of money because the sellers were like, why are we paying the buyer's agents who aren't working for us? Why are we paying their commission?
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
and bring you a buyer.
buyers are also shelling out an arm and a leg to buy a home. It's already a lot of money for them. It's already been a long process of them having to pull out tens of thousands of dollars sometimes to put down the home. And all the other expenses that come with buying a home, most people can't afford to put down another 3% of the sales price on top of that to pay your realtor.
Yeah.
People who can most of the time afford it is generally the people who are selling their home, who are selling because, one, they're going to make a profit. They're going to have equity. They've owned it for X amount of years. They have the money to pay a realtor. It's going to be more beneficial from them. Sure, they might not want to, but
it'll bring the best buyers.
It'll bring you the best transaction. It'll bring you the best opportunity. It'll bring you the best buyers, and it might even help you with the price. It can make you make more money. And so that's what I just tell my clients. I said, I'll happily list your house for 3% if you want to do that. Let me tell you every reason why not to do that. And let me tell you every reason why in the last 50 plus years, real estate has operated this way and it's been successful is because everybody has been accustomed to the 6% rule and everybody knows that it works. And I still, when I go and approach my buyers, I say, hey, most of the time they're going to pay my commission. If it's a, situation where they're only paying a certain amount, I can negotiate that with them first. Let me talk to the seller's agent first. Let me talk to the sellers first, because I can leverage my negotiations with our offer and not still have you make you pay extra or more money to me. And I still might just do the deal for 2%. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. I just tell them the potential on that buyer's rep says 3%. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to pay me 3%. It just means I have the ability to make 3%. And I can get it from the sellers. I can get it however way I want. Maybe they pay me 0.5%, and they're cool with that. There's a lot of ways you can just kind of negotiate it now. And I think that is going to distinguish a lot of the very good realtors who have been around and who can understand how to do that in this business rather than, beforehand where it was just expected.
Right.
I'm always getting 3, or I know the BAC. We're not going to go see that house because of X, Y, Z. That was also an issue where people were misleading clients based on the commission numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's my crash course on that.
I like that.
No,
Thank you.
yeah,
You broke that
100%.
down pretty quick. Good
Pretty
work.
quick.
I've talked
Very
about it a
nice.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to be able to talk about that because that is one of the very first conversations you have to have in either a listing presentation or a buyer's rep conversation, I guess.
right.
It's really important to have and to be able to educate your buyers and your sellers on that change is really important because a lot of headlines since, was it August that the change was made?
I think it was July.
Okay.
Late July. Close to August.
Yeah. So a lot of the headlines said like you don't have to pay realtors at all anymore.
Yeah. The media misconstrued that shit out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, what do they not misconstrue?
Exactly.
That's their job. They're very good at panic peddling and all that good stuff.
Making our buyers worried,
Yeah. But our job as realtors is to make y'all feel more comfortable.
Educate y'all.
And
what's
Literally
actually
nothing
going on.
changed.
Yeah, seriously, nothing changed.
So, yeah,
the verbiage
exactly.
changed.
The
Like
verbiage,
it
That's it.
became a little more litigious. Is that the
Right.
correct word
Yeah.
for this?
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's really changed is the fact that none of us can just see commission online anymore.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Yep.
It's
They
just
just
not,
took
it's not,
it
They
off.
can't advertise it, and we have to ask
Yeah.
for it and negotiate it as part of your
Yeah,
contract.
they can send it out on an email blast. They can send it out on text message.
Social media.
They can just say
Absolutely.
BAC 3%.
Yeah.
It's just specifically MLS, which is our multiple listing service.
I've heard some people say they've noticed people doing weird things on MLS too, where it's like it'll be a picture and it's the picture. The clock is set to like 3:00.
That's
Oh,
so
gosh.
extra.
And there's like some and they have a little % sign in the corner or something, and
Honestly,
it's like
I think that's
I'm just gonna give you a
it's
call.
doing too much. Yeah, if you're a good enough
I'm not gonna
agent,
mess
you're
it
gonna
up.
know how to call and have that
Right.
conversation.
I usually
But that is funny.
I usually break it down and talk to them, bullshit with them a little bit, and being like, "Yeah, we're interested. What else should I know?" Like, okay, nice to
and they
meet
usually
you.
end up just telling you.
And then I just go like, "What's the commission on this, by the way?" And then
Yeah,
that's the way they tell me.
honestly, I just go straight into it. I'm like,
Okay.
I just want to know right off the bat, what is the BAC?
I can't do that.
I mean,
I gotta break it. I gotta like.
You got to break the ice.
I gotta break the ice a little bit. I just
Yeah.
don't like being that straightforward. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm weird about
It's just
that.
ripping the Band-Aid off
right?
is one of the
Yeah,
easiest
like,
ways to
she
do
doesn't even
anything.
say her name.
What's
the commission?
BAC on this?
What's the commission? Tell me right now.
That's so funny. But I mean, yeah. And I honestly, I think it's helpful in the sense that it causes for more conversation between the agents and their clients, and it causes
Right.
for more comfort, I think, in that regard. And I think genuinely in the long run, I hope that it weeds out
It will.
some of the agents who might not be doing things in the correct way.
Right.
It'll really make for agents who are stronger in what they stand for and what they believe and what they present to you.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
your job is to take care of your clients, and I think some people lose sight of that. But
Another way of thinking about it is kind of like an attorney too, where you're like, I'm worth 3%. I know I am. I know the value I provide.
right.
Me and Kyle had a deal a couple months ago. He came to me. He needed a buyer for 1.2 million on a 4 condo duplex, or it was 4 doors, 2 duplexes. He's like, I need a buyer quick. My guy needs cash. He's discounting it. And I was like, I know just the guy. Found the guy in 24 hours. Called him. I knew my guy, Ross, and got an offer over with cash. Good offer, and less than 48 hours. That's a deal where if you can provide a service like that to someone else, you're worth every bit of 3%.
Absolutely.
You never should. I mean, there will be people out there that are going to discount themselves and say, I'll sell your house for 1%, or I'll do this for 2%, or I do this with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's showing their value. They're just desperate.
Well, exactly.
And I'm not going to work for free, quote unquote. I'm happy to work with you on a number that's comfortable if it financially makes sense and I care about you, or, whatever it may be. But having hold your standard to, I'm worth 3%, and this is why.
Yeah. Well, when you think of it, any hour that you spend away from your family, away from your friends, is an hour on the clock. One of my first team lead back at Compass taught me that your time is very valuable. So you are worth every single cent of that 3%.
Yeah. Show your value.
Exactly. It's all about showing your value. You're representing yourself, representing the brand, and more importantly, you're representing that client in their own brand. And the reason why they choose you is because of how you show up for them. So just maintaining that. But we could honestly talk about this for hours.
That's a
because
good subject.
Definitely
it's a
come
great
back to this topic
conversation.
and come back to this at some
Yeah.
point. Definitely going more in depth on kind of what it all means and going back to showing your value and why you're worth that 3%.
Exactly. I think we should definitely dive into that soon. Just what exactly does it mean to have an agent who is worth 3%? Because there's a lot that the other side doesn't know. We are the experts in our field, and we have to be able to explain how we're the experts. So that's important. But nonetheless, what's our next topic?
So no, I was just gonna finish up with saying before I'll do a quick little trivia just for the fun of it. But I was gonna say, with inventory rising as you were saying, and kind of buyers coming back to the market.
Don't let Haley look at your phone.
Oh my gosh,
I
seriously.
know.
I've been
Can't help
staring.
herself.
I literally can't. Neither can you. I've been seeing that.
The interest rates, I feel like from what I've seen, they're staying pretty stable, and I think sellers are starting to realize, they're not dropping significantly and they're not rising significantly, so they're kind of staying at that kind of 6.7, 6.8, maybe 6.5 if we're lucky range. So I think buyers or sellers are starting to realize that and realize, if they do, I've seen a lot of price adjustments lately, so I think that's something we're going to start seeing a lot more of a kind, not like significant price adjustments, but like kind of just slightly going down to kind of balance out with where the rates are at, and I think sellers are starting to do that. Noticing that they're going to get more offers if they kind of balance out their price with where the rates are at.
Yeah. Haley,
what do y'all think?
Are you good on time, Hill?
Yes, I think I could do about 2 more minutes with y'all.
Okay.
I have a lunch meeting.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Carter sent a video to me the other day. It was literally yesterday. And he said their rates are at 6.65. Basically, the idea of his video was to try and help our clients block out the noise and basically try not to focus too much on the interest rate and more the fact that the bigger idea here is to not focus so much on the rate, and the bigger fact is that the appreciation still happened last year of 5%.
Right.
The home values are still going up. So regardless of the interest rate, if you want to buy a house, you don't want to keep waiting in that aspect because the home values are still going up regardless of the interest rates. And so you don't want to keep waiting and get priced out of a neighborhood or an area that you like, because more than often or not, like, people aren't really increasing a whole lot of money in their jobs every year over year, maybe 5 years at a time, or 3 years at a time. But it's just like you want to focus on, hey, get the house first. We can possibly refinance later. Let's get you into a home and start building that equity and
Save
stop
the
losing
rate,
money. Yeah,
marry the house.
Exactly.
They always say, and another great saying is, the best time to buy was yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not entirely true always, but a lot of the time it is.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
True.
100%.
All right, guys.
It's a matter
You're
of
out.
knowing
think
your
I know.
information and knowing what you need to know, guys. We're here to help y'all. Let us
Absolutely.
know.
We can just cut it
Yes.
there. That was 35.
Yeah.
We can cut it. I'm gonna give you one trivia question really quick. just
Okay, one
because.
trivia.
She's
One
like,
trivia.
damn it, Cameron.
Y'all can know the answer to it, so that's why I'm asking. Guys, it was an interesting question.
I'm a little nervous.
What is the name of a tiny European-style village hidden in Dallas, originally built for World War II workers?
Oh.
Tiny European
Village.
village
Styled village. It looks like a little
European-style
European-style
village
village.
in
And
Dallas.
it was originally built for World War II workers.
In what context? Like as in a factory?
Nope, it's like a place for them to live. It's right down the street from here, if that helps you at all. You pass it and you get off of the tollway.
Oh my.
You may not know what it's called, though.
Harry
It says
Hines?
outside, though. It's off of Harry Hines, but it's like there's an actual little place built right over there.
I have no idea.
don't
What is
know.
it?
Little Mexico Village.
Oh, nice.
I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
heard
Right
of
there by
that.
the,
I have
right there by the
I've-
Mavs baseball
Gosh,
park.
you've passed it probably
passed-
hundreds of
yep.
times, if not thousands, in your life. It's a good spot. We'll
It's
have
like
to.
pink,
Need to
pink
point it out.
building. I'll point. You've
Yeah.
seen it before. I know you. You'll be like, oh no, wait, that's it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But all right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. I know it was short, but we'll definitely, like we said, come back on here next, probably Thursday at some point, and kind of dive deeper into that NAR stuff, kind of what the value we bring to you and how it can help you to use a real estate agent, and specifically us, because we're just the best there is in Dallas. But
Absolutely.
You
Well,
know,
thanks
hey.
for tuning in, guys, and we will see you on Thursday.
see ya. Peace.
See ya. Peace.
Yay.